right. Well, welcome everybody. This is episode 3 of Happy Hour Huddle. We got Tim Fidel here today, myself, John. Daniel, unfortunately, is having some technical difficulties, power outage in his area. So if he could join, he will
Ooh.
join us. But we'll get it started. If you're a returning listener, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. You know, being there since day one. If this is your first time, welcome and cheers. We're excited to have you here. Please subscribe and like our video below. And just please remember to comment your thoughts, of topics we discuss and what you want to hear. But we'll get started with our happy hour. And first, it's just college football fan experience. I think it's something we've always wanted to talk about. We talk about a lot of college football. We like watching those players come up and then getting ready for the NFL because we do watch the NFL a lot more religiously, I would say. But which stadium and atmosphere would we want to experience most?
For me personally, I would either like to. I have three that I would really like to go and get the full experience. One would be Michigan, obviously.
Mhm.
Who doesn't want to go to the Big House, right?
Mhm.
Ohio State would be another one, and Bama.
Bama.
Down south they probably have some crazy what's it called tailgates over there. Well, what's that guy's name? Roll Tide Willie.
Roll
Juicy's from.
Tide.
I don't give a.
Yeah.
What does he say? I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
He's been
Live
coming
and
up a
breathe it.
lot. See him a
Yeah,
lot.
but yeah, I think those would probably be some insane atmospheres. Obviously, they're good teams that are always in the hunt for the playoff in college. Yeah, and then they always had like the top athletes that go there, so
Mhm.
you're in for a good game.
Yeah.
For sure. Similarly, I have Michigan in there also. I mean, I think they have like a stadium capacity of like 110,000, something ridiculous. But just the atmosphere in general looks crazy. It looks like a super fun time. Keeping it up north also, Wisconsin came to mind for myself. I think that what is it, towards the end of the game or maybe start of the second half, they do the jump around,
Mhm.
start playing that song, the whole stadium gets jumping. Just looks like a really cool, not only student atmosphere, but just atmosphere in general. I think everybody, it looks like they get pretty hyped there. And then got to go to the South for at least one game. Bama came to mind. It was tough for me to decide completely. Texas was another one. And then also Florida with the Swamp. I think that when you're in the South, though, I feel like I would want to experience some type of tailgate experience and get some barbecue before. I just think that, I'm sure it's some of the best food, in America at that point, especially if you've had a few drinks, just looking to something to fill the belly.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would definitely be at the top of my list for sure.
To get the point of you mentioned Texas, I think just the city gets in as well. Austin.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do out there. Definitely, and a lot of good food.
You got to eat a lot when you go to these tailgates because if you just drink, especially down south, that humidity, man, it's gonna creep up and hit you hard.
No kidding. Yeah. No, I'm sure like going to Florida for a game, I'm sure there's more than one reason they call it the swamp.
Mhm.
I'm sure your whole body's feeling like one midway
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. No, for me, the big one, I had Michigan as well. I think that's the one place I'd want to go. The other one, LSU, Tiger Stadium. I've always liked LSU. They always have some of the top players in that stadium. Just the pregame, the tailgating. You see it on college football, ESPN. Saturday mornings. It gets crazy. And then the other one, just because it's a team I've always liked, is Notre Dame. That's one experience I would want to go to just personally for myself.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like do you feel like the movie Rudy plays a factor in that at
I
all? Are you a
I
big
think
fan?
it does a little bit.
Yeah.
Just the jersey, the gold helmets. There's a lot of good players that come out of there. So just
Yep.
experiencing that would be awesome. But I think just experiencing any college football environment would be an awesome experience.
For sure. Like, I guess a sub question I have for this, like, have you guys been to a college football game? Do you remember who they were playing? What stadium you went to?
I haven't been to any. I've wanted to. You know, we have USC, UCLA out here. Um,
Mhm.
I hope I could go to one soon. It's always been a bucket list, just going to, you know, at least UCLA, USC, one of these, you know, teams. But going to these other ones, it'd be awesome, you know, if I'm ever out there somewhere.
Yeah, I
For
went
sure.
to was it USC Stanford like a while ago. I had the luck that my cousin had free tickets, and it was that game that I think they went to like double or triple overtime with
Oh dang.
Andrew Luck was still at Stanford.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
that
Yeah.
was a game. It was
Yeah, I
amazing.
feel like every time those
Mhm,
two teams
mhm,
meet, like Stanford somehow upsets them. I feel like just
Mhm.
Stanford has their number, even, good Stanford teams, bad Stanford teams.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know, kryptonite. But similarly, I went to a USC versus Hawaii game. It was actually, I think, the first game of that season. Um, God, I can't remember the name of the starting quarterback that day. Certainly wasn't Mark Sanchez. He was at, I think it was maybe a lesser known quarterback for USC, but they still, I think, won by like 49. I think it just wasn't even close. But just, that atmosphere, the
Yeah.
walk into the stadium, you walk through the campus to the Coliseum, see, kind of all the student tailgates going on. It's a really cool experience. It's fun. Even if you don't go to that college, you at least get to experience it. So it's fun.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I think that sort of just leads, you know, one of the things we also like to do a lot, you know, within our group is playing video games, and NCAA 25 coming out soon. How excited are you guys for that? Because it's been a long time since we've had that game.
Yeah, I'm pretty super excited about it. I'm actually trying to figure out which teams I want to do like a dynasty with. Maybe like some of those random mid-major schools. Try to build them up. Hopefully you don't get my best players poached the, with these transfer rules nowadays.
Yeah, you got to take like Cal Poly to
Yeah.
Division 1 championship or something, that's just the experience of the game altogether. I'm thrilled for it to be back. It's been what, 10 years now? I think,
Yeah,
roughly
close
10
to
years.
that.
I think 2014 might have been the last one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Marcus Mariota was in the last one. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I'm thrilled. Super happy that they decided to, kind of jump back into things. Maybe thank you NIL
Yeah.
for coming into play, making things happen.
Yeah, I think the NIL deal is what made this happen, because the way they were going, I truly didn't think we'll ever see another of these NCAA games. That I always enjoyed it, you know, especially linking it back to Madden. You know, once you create your own player, you build yourself up and then see where you get drafted in. You know, it was always fun for me. So I'm excited.
No doubt. I wonder how, like what new features they're going to bring into the game. I
Hmm.
know previously they kind of included a little bit of high school football, like kind of state championship level, and then
Yeah.
working your way up. Hopefully the storylines are kind of cool like that,
Hmm.
for like that single player mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
from what I've heard so far, as far as like that, what's called the Road to Glory, right? That's the one where you would start
Hmm.
off in high school. I heard you don't start off in high school. Like I think it depends. You get to pick like your star level, and that depends. I think they said that depends on like where you start off on the depth chart and how like more difficult it'll be for you. But yeah, but
Okay.
I heard they're taking out the high school part, which is kind of a bummer because I think that was like a real fun part of trying to like get your player to be like a 5-star in high school.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah.
that added to the excitement of the game. Mhm.
No doubt. For a second there, I thought you were going to say that they're going to go down to Pop Warner. Start even
That'd
younger.
be even better, right?
Yeah.
And recruiting kids in fourth grade, just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they recruit that what's that guy Baby Gronk?
Baby
Baby
Gronk.
Gronk. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
Saban's been known to recruit like what, eighth grade level kids, that might be playing up, against slightly older, kids, maybe high school level.
yeah.
I feel like I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
I know baseball does.
Mhm.
No, baseball does it early on, so no, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so next topic we have is NFL Hard Knocks. You know, it's about to start. The cool thing I sort of think this year with NFL Hard Knocks on HBO is they have 3 different shows. They have the offseason with the Giants, which starts July 2nd. They have the preseason, so everything leading up with the Bears in August, and then the in season AFC North. You know, so I think one of the first questions I have is, do you guys enjoy the show? Do you guys enjoy watching the Hard Knocks, or you guys sort of has it fizzled out?
I know for myself, I got really into it, the Detroit Lions preseason year. I think that was by far the most watched Hard Knocks I ever had. And it was just a really cool experience, kind of seeing Dan Campbell being, I think, just maybe a 1-year coach at that point. And just, the buildup of the team, it was just really fascinating to kind of see his workings. And I mean, look where he is now. I mean,
Yeah.
this year, I'm sure, even closer to a Super Bowl, we'll see. But yeah, that was by far the most. And then this year, I'm certainly interested. I think obviously the Bears I'm most interested in watching, just with Caleb, see what he's doing. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think out of the three, my favorite would probably be the Bears one. Yeah, definitely, like you said, Caleb, and then the addition of Keenan Allen. Then they drafted Roma Dunze. Should be interested to see how they all like mesh together, and if they can actually like put a winning season in for the people of Chicago that have been suffering for the what since the Rex Grossman years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago really never had luck with quarterbacks. Could say what was it? Jim McMahon was their best one, but was he really that great? I think he was like slightly above average in the grand scheme of things, but they've never really had like a quarterback that you can say he's like one of the greats in the league. They've always been like a team built on defense.
No, yeah, I'm excited for it. I think the most excited. It's always a preseason one, just sort of seeing what the team builds, especially with the Bears, Caleb Williams, all their draft picks. I'm personally excited for the in season one. AFC North. That's where my Baltimore Ravens are. So it's going to be one of the tough races in the NFL because all 4 teams are great. They all have great players, great quarterbacks. So it'll be good. But yeah, I've always enjoyed the Hard Knock shows. All of them. Sometimes they get a little boring, but sometimes they bring a lot of great, comedy, and just awesome to see what some of these players and teams go through.
For sure. I know at times they can get kind of awkward with the player cuts. I think last season the Jets did away with that, right? They didn't want any cameras in the area for those.
Yeah.
I remember back with the Jeff Fisher Rams days. I mean, the
Rams.
guy was just savage with it, just putting it on the camera, and, no problem at all there.
Right.
So I'm kind of curious to see if, teams follow suit with what the Jets did or just kind of continue on with programming, in the past.
I think like one of the top moments in the those Hard Knock shows was when was it Vontae Davis got traded?
Yes. I think it became a meme after that, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it did. All I say is they missed out on a chance to get a Jim Harbaugh in this year, but hey, maybe next year, right?
Maybe next year. Yeah.
That guy's definitely a little quirky,
That's
to say the least, right?
To hear all of his little songs that he likes to sing, right? I think going back to the Bears too, I know you kind of brought up briefly like QB situation, past performances, there's not much competition for, maybe setting records there. But I remember there was an interview post draft with Roma Dunze, and they talked about like the receiving yards record. And I think his response was like, "Oh, that's it." So it'll be really interesting to see, how much he gets fed this year, how quickly he can try to go and break that record too.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces in Chicago, so to break that record, it's going to be hard. Keenan Allen joins Rome.
Right.
DJ Moore there. Who?
Swift,
Colt Kmet, Swift. Like they set up Caleb Williams really well to succeed. So it'll be interesting to see if the coaching just ruins it because coaching does matter.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely on the chopping block. I feel like that's kind of the thin rope right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give a little shout out to Khalil Herbert too. They
Khalil
all get
Herbert.
put some work in.
Hey,
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
about Roshan Johnson?
Roshan
Yeah.
Johnson.
Up and
Yeah,
comer.
they
Let's see.
have a good solid 3 running backs.
They
Yeah.
do. Yeah, they're all
Mhm.
kind of what speed backs more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
And sort of like what Fidel was saying, wanting to hopefully see Jim Harbaugh. Who would you guys have preferred to see, either in the offseason instead of Giants, in the preseason instead of the Bears, or during season? Who would you guys have been like your top teams to include in Hard Knocks this year? Like for me, offseason, I'd want to see the Falcons. I want to see that draft day room of what they were
Mm.
thinking drafting a quarterback when you just paid Kirk Cousins so much money. It would just be so interesting to see their offseason.
Right. Especially isn't he like a 23 or something like that? He's already like an older
Mm-hmm.
for a rookie. And if he doesn't get playing time until Cousins' 4-year contract's up, then he's gonna be like 27 when he first starts, which is
Yeah.
kind of old to be a first time quarterback. Kind of gives me those Brandon Whedon vibes. Because that guy was like super old when he got drafted too, right? Wasn't he like
Yeah.
almost late 20s or something like that?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I think that's why there were such high expectations for him to come out and just be ready to perform.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the perfect one. Would be the Falcons. I guess I have kind of a minute curiosity level of the Carolina Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of Bryce Young, I want to see if that new coaching staff can kind of get 100% out of him. Just but the ownership is still in place. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's a very outspoken, or I don't know how you want to label it, owner. So there's drama there. There's some factors I think that they added. Didn't Deontay Johnson go there this offseason as well, if
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken?
he got traded. Deontay Johnson,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Mhm.
there's some
Mm-hmm.
more pieces there.
Mhm.
I'm genuinely kind of curious about that one. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I feel like they kind of did a good job. We'll see how the Giants go. I don't know,
Right.
how
Mm-hmm.
intriguing that'll be, but
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the Panthers, I think if they would have got chosen their rookie receiver, what's his name, Xavier Leggett, that guy probably would have been the star of the
Mm.
show with his deep Southern accent he has. That guy would have like
Yes, yes,
he would have been the guy on that show, man, for sure, no, without a doubt.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me personally, obviously it's biased because I'm a Charger fan, but there was a lot of movement with the Chargers. They replaced the whole coaching staff. They let go of their top 2 receivers, and Allen and Mike Williams. And then I think it would have just been interesting to see because they got a lot of young guys at receivers. Obviously, we got Quentin Johnson. See how he's gonna do. Drafted McConkey, picked up a Brendan Rice. A lot of young guys to see how they're meshing with Herbert. But hey, if it was like slightly missed opportunity, but there's always next year.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they have a good run this year. Maybe they can get on there next year.
Yeah.
Small little podcast uh bet here for you, Fidel.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing monetary, just bragging rights. We'll figure out
Mm-hmm.
something later maybe. But 1,000 yards, Quentin Johnson, over or under. I'll take the under.
I'll take the other two because dude, there's too many receivers. I'm also gonna be spread out, and then since it's like a Greg Roman OC, they're probably gonna run out.
The
It'd
run.
be heavy run, but I think like
Yep.
they ran it a lot, and they had a lot of like running plays when he was the OC for the Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I feel like Herbert isn't suited to that. Like, yes, he can run when he has to,
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen him like put up games where he's put up like 80 rushing yards and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I feel like it'll be more like I think they'll try to incorporate more like receiver screens and stuff like that with as an extension of the running game for Herbert, since it'll suit his playing style more than him just running the ball. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna run him the way they would run Lamar. I don't think Herbert's the same type of runner. I think Jim Harbaugh, he has something in mind that and he
Right.
picked him, Greg Roman for a reason. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean, Herbert's an absolute unit, but yeah, we kind of been taking unnecessary shots,
yeah,
just like uh, just like Josh Allen. That guy's a beast too, but he takes all these unnecessary shots
Yeah.
that he shouldn't be taking. Mhm.
Yeah, he never backs down from a tackle.
no,
Mhm.
That's
I
that's
still,
for
I still
sure.
remember I was Herbert's first game against the Chiefs his rookie year, where he trucked that linebacker on the sideline.
yeah,
Mhm.
Might have kept it to himself, but I'm sure he felt that. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's learned.
Mhm.
But yeah, maybe they're the new tush push team.
could be.
Let's see.
Who knows?
I guess the Ravens didn't really run it ever, but different built
Mhm.
quarterback.
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
can extend his long arms. Let's see.
Hmm.
Be fun though.
Definitely should be a interesting season for the Chargers.
yeah. Next thing we have is we just want to remember Willie Mays. He passed away this past week, June 18th. You know, great all-around player, great all-around ball player, voted into the Hall of Fame 1979. We weren't even born yet. So he's one of the big names in baseball when you think about the sport and where they came from. Who who's there, Babe Ruth is there. Willie Mays is just as high.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and he really did it all. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's famous for that, that center field catch at Polo Grounds. And what wasn't noticed about that clip, because it's genuinely usually just maybe, that short 10-second clip kind of showing him running, catching the ball. But after catching the ball, he threw it all the way into, I believe, second base, and I believe stopped the runner from advancing, all the way home. So it's just the cannon of an army at
Mm-hmm.
after that. He's just a fascinating player, one of a kind, just an absolute icon. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he's just kind of past that legend status and is just an icon to the sport in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, man. Let's see, back like when they were still in New York, it was like what the big three were Willie, Duke, and who was it for the Yankees? The center fielder back in the was Willie
Ted
for the
Williams, right? Oh, my
no
way
no
off.
no Ted Williams was with the Red Sox. It was Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle. There
Mickey
you go.
Mantle.
Those were the
Oh,
big
okay.
three. Big three in New York. It was Willie, Duke, and Mantle. There's a reason for that because I mean, yeah, just the numbers he put up, 600 plus home runs. Always seemed like he was a very community oriented guy. A guy always stuck up for his people. Definitely had to struggle with the time he played in, having to be
Mm-hmm.
segregated and having to play in the Negro League until they were finally able to integrate with and have him there along with Jackie in New York leading the way. Definitely will be missed. Rest in peace, Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And if you guys don't mind, quick little sub question to this. I mean, in my opinion, he absolutely is, but just definitely want to get your guys' opinion. Is he considered the best all-around player in your guys' opinion in Major League history?
He's up there for me. It's either him or Clemente. Clemente was
Hmm.
up there too, but obviously his like cut short with that airplane accident. But yeah,
Yeah.
they're both 1A and 1B for me because they both had the power,
Mm-hmm.
the average. They did it all.
Yep.
Yeah, I have him as my one. He just could do everything. That great all around player. So
Yeah. I think Johnny Bench said it best. He's built like the greatest baseball player of all time. He said something along the lines of that. He's just could do it all. It's perfect for the game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Rest in peace, Willie Mays. Another legend lost, but brought so much to the game, so much to just sports in general. So did it on and off the field. So you know it took this time to remember him because yeah, he we're about sports. So rest in peace. we'll go to our next segment. This is what we call our say what segment. So, every now and then we'll do say what, where we're gonna start ranking, and discuss lists that either we want to talk about or lists that we've seen out there, that we're sort of maybe questioning, like really say what, you put that at number one. And if there's anything you guys want us to rank, just leave a comment below, let us know and we'll rank stuff. I don't, we'll rank beer, rank anything. So what we brought
Vegetables,
today, vegetables.
Why not?
Yeah, there's some good
different brands to
vegetables.
water.
Hit water.
Yeah, everything has a different taste, so we can rank a lot of that stuff. But for this week, we wanted to bring the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, the top 4 wrestling legends that sort of have catapulted wrestling to where it is right now. WWE is still one of the biggest watched events. WrestleMania is always an event that is watched by so many thousands of people, millions of people across the world. I still watch it, I enjoy it. So Mount Rushmore, one of the ones I have is Hulk Hogan. He's just one of the pioneers, hair, what he did back in the day, and even coming, newer days when I think we were a little younger, watching him, NWO, New World Order. So he's on my Mount Rushmore wrestling.
For me, my first one I have on there is pretty much I would say Hulk Hogan's greatest foil, his greatest opponent, and my personal favorite of all time, Sting. Yeah, man. I don't know how he committed to go a whole plus year without talking and just like hanging out in the rafters. But yeah, that guy, I mean, if it wasn't for that guy, WCW probably would have got under a lot faster than it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely they called him the franchise and the icon for a reason, right? He still wrestled to earlier this year.
Yeah.
He just retired literally a few months ago. He was still on AEW. He was still 60 plus years old, jumping off ladders, sacrificing his body, and guy is the icon for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think here in the rotation I have 2 in a row, but not to copy, literally have those 2 names on my top 4. Sting being one, the creator of face paint. And then I have Hulk Hogan, creator of spray tan. So, just both absolute icons. You think of the sport, you think of, just how entertaining both of them were. It wasn't just in the ring, but, just the interviews that they would do. It was just incredible. I feel like they really gave that, kind of wrestling that big upstart, during their time, but super fun to watch. But I agree with you both. Have both of those names on my top 4.
Well, let's see. My second one is probably the most consistent guy that was in the WWE, WWF at the time back in the 90s, early 2000s, The Undertaker. He may have not been the top star for longest, but that guy was the guy. He's the reason people that didn't watch wrestling watch WrestleMania, just to keep an eye on the streak.
Yeah.
And from all accounts, behind in the locker rooms, he was the guy. He was the leader. If there was any situation that was going on, he would be the judge for the wrestlers' court. But yeah, definitely him. He's up there. If it wasn't for him being there, he definitely drove a lot of the 90s stories, especially with like the Ministry of Darkness, then him and Kane as the Brothers of Destruction. And also him and Sting, that's the one match that never happened that should have happened.
Yeah, no, I have Undertaker on my Mount Rushmore as well. Watching that streak, end was devastating because you just thought he was gonna go retiring undefeated at WrestleMania. But anytime you hear his music, you just get these goosebumps. The few appearances he made this last WrestleMania, to help Cody Rhodes, it was awesome to see him. So Undertaker. Big reason I watched wrestling when I was younger. And the second big reason, and the next person on my Mount Rushmore, was Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's one of those wrestlers back in the Attitude Era, Raw days, that really brought a lot of eyes to wrestling. Just his character, and you know, he, I remember as a kid taking water bottles and just smashing them together. I couldn't have beer when I was younger, but do whatever, Sprite, sodas, because it was just it's an iconic time, and a wrestler that really made me really love wrestling a lot. So I have Stone Cold in my Mount Rushmore.
I also have Stone Cold. Yeah, like John said, he's also very iconic. He's in my mind, he's really what turned the Monday Night Wars in the favor of the WWF back at the time. Without him and that whole Vince McMahon storyline, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that whole storyline was just insane. Great. Him always giving Vince the stunners, Vince getting him arrested, all that great stuff. I still remember when he was drinking his beers, rolling down the ramp on the chair.
Yeah.
And then he would always, and then at the end of the show, his music would always hit. There could be like 20 guys in the ring. He'd go out there and stun all of them, and just keep on slinging the beers. And then what other wrestler could get over a one word catchphrase like what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Gets the whole audience going, right?
Yes, sir.
I too have Stone Cold Steve Austin on mine. And I just think that him and when he fights Booker T in the most random places, the grocery store one where he's just
that's
dumping milk all over him. And, yeah.
Yes.
I think at one point in time, didn't he get him in the hospital or something like that? Or I don't
Vince
remember if
McMahon, I think.
Vince McMahon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He beat him with the bedpan.
Yes. But I swear, just that grocery store scene in general is just it makes me laugh. Doesn't matter when, how old it is. Every time I see it, I laugh. The entertainment is top right there, top of the line. The final one on there for me is The Rock. He just has so much attitude, and he's just his cocky nature, and just everything else he's done outside of wrestling. He's really helped promote the sport tremendously, just getting a bigger audience in, but just always so much fun to watch. And I mean, the entertainment factor with him is just second to almost none.
Yeah, for my fourth one, I was debating between at least four guys really hard, but out of the four guys, I ended up going with John Cena. That's definitely the modern day Hulk Hogan, probably even better. Guy has what, 16 championships. Refused to even win another one because he didn't want to break Flair's record, because that's how much he respects him. But yeah, that guy carried the WWE during his run. He was the guy. It was him, and then they had to bring in a foil for him, which ended up being Brock Lesnar to give him some trouble. But yes, Cena is the guy for the WWE. He did everything they asked of him. He never turned down a Make-A-Wish for any of those kids. I think he holds a record with 300, 400 plus Make-A-Wish appearances. Definitely overall phenomenal wrestler, great guy, great human being.
Yeah, and just like Fidel, I had a bunch of people at that fourth spot, but I also put in John Cena, and it's just all the stuff he's done in wrestling, and not just in wrestling, but outside of it. The Make-A-Wish, signing autograph for kids. He really has touched a lot of people and made a difference in so many kids' lives that he's brought so much to the sport. So he was the one I had in that Mount Rushmore that without John Cena, who knows where WWE would be right now.
I will say my honorable mention is Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
He's a young legend right now, right? He'll get up there one day.
Yeah. No, I had Roman Reigns in my mind. The Rock,
Right.
Sting.
Mhm.
There's so
Yeah, for me
many.
it was between Cena, Flair, and
There,
Roman, mhm,
yeah,
for my last one. Mhm.
I had another five in there. Mysterio. It's
Rey
the-
Mysterio.
just the exciting moves he always had. He just brought so much, you know, short king flair, to the
Yeah,
ring.
Mhm.
Um, he's so much fun to watch.
yeah,
Right. Especially all the work he did with Eddie Guerrero.
yeah.
Yes.
Eddie
Mhm.
Eddie was a great wrestler that could be on that list as well. His segments, his matches, how he always faked an injury, and then all this stuff. So yeah.
Mhm.
Banter with the boys. Any banter this week, fellas? I think we've been bantering about the messages.
We always are.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's always hard because
I
like
will take a
there's so much.
I know there's so
yeah.
much. What can I think? I can't even think of it. There's so much.
uh,
Yeah, I'll call myself out for something I said earlier on the podcast right now before somebody comments. My Ted Williams comment, being on the Yankees, shame on me. But it was much too soon. Uh,
Right.
um, but no, I feel like we're always, bantering about something. I think this week or most recently today, just kind of deciding on when we're going to start these podcasts, is Fidel, saying, maybe it's bedtime for him. He wants to
Nah,
start them a little bit sooner, but,
nah,
that's just, it's nonstop.
nah, it's bedtime for Daniel. Didn't you see? He said he wakes up at 5 a.m. during the weeks. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Be, be,
yeah.
be like, if the sun isn't up, I'm not up.
I'll say it's tough with a kid, scheduling wise, you really got to work around that.
Yep.
So like, I think we've already said it. For me, thanks to Vera, watching him right now, putting him to bed. I appreciate it to give me and give us the time to do this. Hang out, chit chat, have our little happy hour, and talk with everybody.
I second that. You did it, John, so I'll do it too.
Yeah,
Jenny, taking
like
care
I
of
gotta do it.
yeah. But she obviously, much like Vera, works very hard to, allow us to have this time. So,
Yeah,
shout out to, all the moms and wives
yeah,
doing such a phenomenal job.
yeah.
Thank you to the ladies for doing all the hard work while we're here having fun.
Yeah.
They're
There you
like,
go.
Fidel's like, so they could come hang out with me.
Yep.
Straight
Damn
up.
right.
It's like,
Oh
it's my
yeah.
turn, ladies.
Uh, cool. All right. Next we got just some hot takes, news, things that have happened in sports, just in general. First Euro and Copa updates. Euro Cup, or not Euro, but just a Euro tournament. What do you think about it, Fidel?
I've enjoyed it so far. They, I know I've watched a couple of England games. They seems like they're struggling a bit,
Mm-hmm.
to like get to pushing the ball forward at least at the when they get to the final third. They seem to be lacking that touch to score at the end.
Yeah.
They're struggling, but hey, at least they're picking up points, right? They're still first in the group.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can find a way to be more clinical when it comes to finishing. But yeah, they're doing good. Let's see who else. Watched a bit of the Germany game today. They tied, they ended up winning their group as well. But yeah, everything's going great. And I think was it the surprise team so far for me at least is Romania. I think that
Romania.
they're head of their group as of now. Yeah, they're playing well as a
Yeah.
team, which is good. Hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the notes I had, and one of the things I've seen more is Belgium just failing to perform. Being one of the what are they number three in the world ranked by FIFA, something like that,
Hmm.
3 or 4. And just not being able to beat a team like Romania. That Group B is open. Everybody has one win, one loss. So this next
Hmm.
game is gonna mean a lot to some of these teams, and if Belgium doesn't make it through, that's just it's gonna be a tough one. So
Yeah, definitely. I remember watching their last game. They were trying to feed Lukaku to go to goal, but
Lukaku.
it just couldn't happen, man. Something
Yeah,
always interfered like with the path of the ball, and it would
yeah,
never get to him. But I
yeah,
mean, they still pulled through with the Tillemans and the De Bruyne goals, so
yeah,
they got the 2-0 win. But
yeah.
yeah, mhm.
Have you been able to watch
I'm
anything?
gonna yeah, I think I'll call this segment the Tim 10 seconds uh of input for this segment. One being I did get a chance to watch the Argentina Canada match a
Mhm.
little bit. Um, saw Messi kind of, slip up on a couple of easy goal
Yeah,
attempts. It's kind of, everybody relies on Messi to make, the most difficult shots, but sometimes those easy ones, just somebody gets a leg in the way and it
yeah,
just kind of botches the whole thing. But it's really all I got around to, unfortunately. But hey, put in a little bit of time, planning on doing more because it is really fun to watch when I have a moment.
yeah,
Um, yeah, especially this time of year, it's really nice to have it because basketball just finished. Hockey's going to be finishing up here. Um, no football yet. We're just kind of waiting. So, it's really nice to have such big soccer games going, to kind of mix in with, baseball in this slow time of year.
yeah. And Copa America, a lot of good games. Yeah, Argentina winning 2-0. Ecuador, Venezuela 1-2. Mexico, I think they got by 1-0 against Jamaica. So, and then USA today winning 2-0. So, been really good for Copa America. I like the way the USA played today in the first half. They got those goals, but Brazil plays tomorrow. I'm excited to see how they're gonna do. But that tournament's just starting, so I think another week, and then we'll sort of see what the knockout stage is gonna look like.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch any of the Copa America games. But yeah, Mexico, like they did squeak by, but with Edson being out, that's their best player. Their midfield's gonna be might suffer, but we'll see how it goes. Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, and with soccer, Tim, have you decided what you know EPL team you're gonna start following? Have you picked one, or you want us to bring you some candidates?
Mm, I'll always
Never.
take candidates, but isn't Wrexham involved in this? Is there
they're
an option?
they're they're what is it now? League One, or I think they're still League
Yeah, League
Two.
One.
Yeah,
So they're
they're
Like
still
they're
kind of
they're
low.
working their way up. Yeah.
yeah, they're trying to get
Now's
up
the
there
time to jump on
to
that
the big league.
bandwagon, No better time. Let's do it now. Let's go Wrexham. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
buy some merch. I should. I'll come on here with like a scarf and some type of jersey. Um, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I'll declare it. Go Wrexham.
All
Shout out
right.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. No, soccer's getting big. You see a lot of celebrities buying some of these smaller soccer teams are buying, some ownership into them because it is a big sport. When it comes down to the World Cup, one of the most watched tournaments in the world every 4 years. So in a few years, we got it here in the US. So I'm excited for that. So
Yes, same.
yeah,
Be good to see it live.
yeah,
Definitely, man. Try to make it to at least one game.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but next hot take, NBA is done, so Celtics won. I don't know if we need to talk too much about that. But really just predictions for this next NBA offseason. What do you guys think? Trade, free agents, things like that. For your teams or just in general that you're feeling.
Yeah, I mean for my Warriors, the big question mark right now is Klay Thompson. What are we gonna do? We threw a 2-year at him, which I think is solid deal for him to come back. I think it was like a 2-year 48. It's great money. We'll forget about the 0 for 10. And just remember all the great memories that he's had with this team. You know what? I won't tolerate any Klay Thompson slander. He's been an absolute gem. I think he's a Hall of Famer, just one of the best shots of all time. So hopefully we resign him. And I just think it's going to be a really fun offseason. We've already seen one move with Caruso going to OKC
Mhm.
for Giddey. which is actually, I think, a pretty solid trade altogether. I think Giddy brings maybe a good 6-man role to the Bulls. And then, likewise Caruso, I think that he's still waiting for that breakout, and OKC is supposed to be a championship favorite. So let's see. It's kind of has my biggest focus there. Maybe if also the Spurs add another piece for Victor. We'll see. What else thinking?
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not super big into basketball, but we'll see what happens. It's got to be a lot of moves. Probably the most interesting uh, team that I think will be Timberwolves, since they still got Anthony Edwards. See if they make any moves to upgrade that team. Because they gotta find someone to, at least maybe like a defensive stopper to help them out. Because Gobert's good on defense during the regular season, but it kind of disappears a little bit during the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, because Anthony Edwards saw a great player. We saw him in the playoffs. He took that team that far. So they're missing that one piece. So for me, I'm curious about PG, Paul George, for my Clippers. Curious what's gonna happen. I see everybody saying he's gonna go somewhere else. We're opening up this new building, so I feel like the Clippers need to make some moves to have a good team to make a deep run into these playoffs, because we've gone out early the last few years. We need Kawhi to stay healthy and just build a few people up. But curious about that. Josh Giddey, I think his move, I think he could break out, in this new location. I think in OKC, Shea was getting a lot of attention, and forget who else was there, but I think he was sort of, just more in the background here with this move. I think he could become the star that I think he has the skills. So we'll see. And then I'm just curious about LeBron and the Lakers. Is he going to stay in the Lakers? I think the one question we've seen and heard a lot about is Bronny James, declaring for the NBA draft, hearing he's not ready, but then hearing some people he may be a first round pick because the team that drafts him, are they getting LeBron as well? That's a question.
100%. I think I think the Lakers take him, to be honest with you, and I think they use their first round pick. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's either 14 or 18 that they have. And I think that they use it then and early. And I think the one thing that it won't be totally, kind of like mind blowing is this isn't that strong of a draft class. There's just a lot of unknowns. There's a few good players right there at the top, but nobody that's, super standout. So I think this is the year to kind of take a risk and, kind of jump on, somebody, like Bronny early and kind of fulfill LeBron's dreams as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious about that. So we'll see. I know they've said that he's not taking any two-way contracts, like he needs a full contract. And LeBron has also said it doesn't matter where Bronny gets, drafted. He's going to make his own decision. But I think in the end, LeBron's going to make the decision based on where Bronny is.
Yeah, and let's not mistake it. I think Rich Paul is the GM of the Lakers. So
yeah, it's all Rich Paul clients right there.
Yes.
Yeah, Bronny getting that nepo baby treatment.
Yeah. There you go. I feel like the talent could be there, though. He might not be the same model as what LeBron is. Maybe, he's a defensive talent. If I'm not mistaken, I think Bronny's own words were kind of to mirror himself after like a Derek White in the Celtics. Just kind of a great role player. And he very well could be that. He's an athletic. I think he's going to be a shooting guard, point guard.
Yeah, probably. Next hot take: NFL offseason. We sort of want to see who we each think was the biggest NFL loser this offseason, who didn't really do much. Just because we're getting around, basketball is done, hockey's done, all we have is baseball. That's a little slower, so we're prepping for NFL season, fantasy season for us. So who was the biggest NFL offseason loser for you guys?
I think it's the Cowboys easily. They they waited way too long to sign Dak. They're going to be forced to probably give him like 60 mil a year. They're relying on Zeke to be their starting running back again. And he has a lot of wear and tear on him. And they have no one at receiver other than CD. They're probably just going to double team him the whole time. I mean, he'll still put up his numbers, but yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to be kind of up the river without a paddle. Then they lost their D coordinator. We'll see how they do with a new D coordinator. See if it was his scheme that made it work as well as it did, or if it was the players. But yeah, I think for my opinion, it's the Cowboys. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna second that. And I really wish Daniel was here for this. You know, the Cowboys have put themselves in a place where they still have to pay Dak, CD, and Micah Parsons. You know, just 3 gigantic contracts. They've waited a long time. So now the markets have increased. You know, in general, I just feel like the under 500 bet we have going is looking good right now on our side. And then kind of out to left field team here that I think is another loser, in my opinion, is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think that the signing of Trevor Lawrence to the amount of money he's going to be getting annually just doesn't match what he's done on the field. You know, strictly my opinion. Others might, I mean, clearly the Jaguars feel differently. But you know, they lost a piece, you know, at wide receiver. And you know, with Calvin Ridley going to the Titans, you know, I just feel like there's not a whole lot there. You know, it's going to be a good division. You know, with the Texans and, you know, with that healthy Colts team coming back. So, you know, I think that they are, you know, that's 1B for me.
Yeah, I had the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't see them do much. Yeah, waiting to sign backs after Trevor Lawrence is gonna cost them a lot, you know, and Dax is he's gonna request that money, even though he also hasn't done much in the playoffs or hasn't, you know, performed during those big games. And then, you know, with CD too, you gotta pay CD. If you lose CD Lamb, you know, Jerry Jones should just sell the team and just call it quits because he isn't gonna win another championship ever. You know, so I think Dallas missed, you know, a lot this offseason. I also had the Giants, you know, for me, sticking with Daniel Jones, I'm like, you know, they could have traded up. They had pieces to make that leap up to get, you know, a franchise QB because, you know, they don't trust Daniel Jones. You know, they put who was it?
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets. So it's like, you know, if you don't trust Daniel Jones, you know, and Tommy Cutlets, he didn't, you know, do too well either. He played well, but wasn't the quarterback that they want. He's not a Brock Purdy. You know, I think that's what they might have hoped out of Tommy, but they should have traded up, you know. So, you know, them being on Hard Knocks, I will sort of want to see what the mindset was this offseason of their draft and just keeping Daniel Jones, because I think we could all agree you need a franchise QB to win a championship. You need that QB. Without the QB, there's not much you could do, you know, because their other pieces, they're great, but they're not star power.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like main reason they probably didn't get rid of Daniel Jones is the dead cap hit. I think he's going to the second year of his new contract, right? So yeah, the dead cap is probably still super high. That's why they don't want to do it. Just look at the dead cap the Broncos took on Russell Wilson. It wasn't like 80 mil or something like that. Something obscene like that.
I think like 83. I think.
Yeah.
Just an obscene number. But come on, you got to believe in Tommy Cutlets. I mean, you know, sophomore season, he was great at Syracuse. Got to believe. But yeah, no, Giants is another great example. You know, of a team that really kind of suffered this offseason. So completely agree.
I
All
think
right.
the Cowboys are not going to get stuck paying 90 mil for 2 players.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we'll see how it goes with these teams and all the other teams. Like I say, getting ready for preseason. Fantasy draft, and sort of leads into fantasy hour. Last week we did our top 10 overall. Rankings of what we would choose. Um, we'll do a fantasy football rankings. We could do our own little mock draft, and we could post that on our social media page, just because that will take a longer conversation. So we'll put that out there for everybody, so you guys could see what our mock draft 1.0. We could maybe change it in a month, because there's going to be news coming out once training camp starts. Unfortunately, injuries do hit during training camp and changes a lot. So these mock drafts change. But this week we wanted to rank our top 10 fantasy QBs, because that is one of the big positions that, you know, is important in the fantasy football world. And, I'll start with number 10. At 10, I have Caleb Williams. So I put him in the top 10 just because of all the weapons he has and what they're expecting out of the Chicago Bears. And seeing some of the few games Caleb Williams had in college, he could have a monster season, but it's just going to depend on the coaching. So I think it's going to go well. I think Chicago, I see them on the rise, so that's why I have him at my top 10 as my number 10.
Right. For me, for my 10, I have Justin Herbert. Normally I would have him higher, but with this new offense they're going to be running that's supposed to be more run heavy, he'll probably dip down a bit. But I should have him in my top 10.
My number 10 is going to be Richardson. I just think that the tools are there. Let's see how he is after injury. But definitely an interesting piece. My one, I would have him higher, but my one fear is just let's see how much they're going to run him. If JT's healthy, we'll see. And then number 9, I have Herbert there. Again, maybe another guy I'd have a little bit higher, but I am curious to see if Harbaugh decides to run the ball a lot more. Could benefit Herbert getting, rushing touchdowns, but yeah, interesting to see.
All right. For my number 9, I have Anthony Richardson. It all depends on health. Like if he stays healthy, he could easily probably be a top 5 guy for me. But yeah, it all depends on his health. If he can stay healthy.
Anthony Richardson's was just out of my top 10 because of health. So I wanted to put him in here, but I think I replaced him with Caleb Williams just because of the health piece. But at my number 9, I have Justin Herbert as well. I think, yeah, he has a rookie team, you could say, all these young players. So I'm curious what, the new coach, the new, offense coordinator, what they're going to do with him. I think he could still have a great season, but there's just a lot of unknown. So that's why fantasy wise, he is my number 9 quarterback. And then at number 8, I have Tua. I have Tua up at 8. I think we saw what he did with Tyreek. I think, 1 year together, they've learned a lot. They have great wide receivers. They're Tua, Jalen Waddle, running backs too, Raheem Mostert, Devon A-Chain. So I think he's going to be passing a lot and dumping the ball to the running back. So I have him as my number 8 QB.
For my number 8, I have Dak. If especially if expect him to not be as good, I can see him being down. And they're gonna have to throw a lot, so he'll get those yards and those touchdowns towards the ends of games, and that's why I have him at number 8.
I following suit, Dak at 8. Same exact reasoning. Garbage time. I think it could be a big factor. See who he throws it to in garbage time, to be honest with you. But yeah, I just think it'll help in fantasy. And then turning the corner here, number 7 is where I have Joe Burrow. Kind of like the others, this is a guy I'd have arguably up a bit higher even, but I feel comfortable with him at 7 just due to previous injury. But I also think that he kind of has that sleeper potential too. The talent is still around him. So, yeah.
Let me see. For me, at 7, I have Brock Purdy. He has the weapons to put up a good fantasy year. So he did it last year. So I mean, as long as he can, as long as Ayuk signs that contract in place, he'll be solid. He'll put up good year, just like last year.
At 7, I have CJ Stroud. I think he had a great rookie season. Getting Stephon Diggs adds to that wide receiving core. Running back wise, I think they also signed, is it Joe Mixon that went to the Texans, or key supporting players around him. So I think he could make a big leap from last year. So I have him at my number 7. And then at number 6, I have Dak Prescott. I think, depending on how his contract goes, this could be a contract season for him. So he's going to try to show a lot because he wants to get paid the big bucks. If it's not from Dallas, it's from another team, because if another team sees he could do, he is that quarterback, someone is going to pay that money. There's no doubt about it. So I think he knows that he has to perform this year to get that big paycheck that he wants. So that's why I have Dak at 6. He'll make it happen with whatever weapons he has.
For me, at 6, I have Jalen Hurts, and it's just because with Kelsey gone, who knows how strong that tush push is going to be. Now with the addition of Saquon, who knows if they'll even use the tush push that much on the goal line, because Saquon himself is a big old power back, so they might not even use it as much, and there goes his production for touchdowns for Hurts. That's a lot of points for him.
That's a great point. So coming here at number 6, I have the second best real football ranking quarterback, Brock Purdy. Kind of like Fidel had mentioned, has the weapons around him. Ayuk or not, I'm a strong believer in Pearsall. I think he's a great signing. He has great hands. So, I just think that the talent's around him, another year of CMC as well. And then going into number 5 is where I have CJ Stroud. I think it's just another really strong year for him. Adding the talent of Joe Mixon at running back now, it's a running back upgrade even from last year. And then he just has an incredible fleet of wide receivers there with, all that he has. So yeah, that's where I am at with number 5.
My number 5 is Joe Burrow. And like I mentioned last week when we were ranking receivers, and I said Joe Burrow's on his revenge tour, and I think he'll be out, just to remind everybody who he is, because he's been hurt the last couple of years. But yeah, I see him putting up big numbers.
Yeah, at number 5, I also have Joe Burrow. I think he it's going to be his comeback season. He's going to show everybody why he's a number 1, a top pick and one of those better quarterbacks. So, and he has, his receivers there. So, T Higgins signing, it's going to help. I think if T Higgins wasn't there, I might have put him a little lower. At number 4, I got my quarterback, got Lamar Jackson. I think with Derrick Henry around, it is going to take some of those rushing yards, which I'm not going to complain because it just saves the hits on Lamar. But I think he's still going to have a great season. I think they're going to throw a lot more. So I have Lamar at 4.
Let's see. For my 4, I have looks like I'm the highest on this guy. I have CJ Stroud. I think with the addition of Diggs and Mixon, he'll definitely put up a lot more yards. He'll definitely be better, and hopefully he doesn't get that sophomore slump. But yeah, I'm high on him this year.
Solid. This is where I have Mahomes at number 4. He's in my opinion best quarterback in the league, but for fantasy, have him at 4, which is actually a slight uptick from last year, in my opinion, with the addition of Hollywood Brown. It's just another threat. I think that's an upgrade over Valdez Scantling. So I think Mahomes will always be top 4, top 5. And then number 3 is where I've Hurts. I just think that just the dual threat is still there. The talent's still around him as well. So Hurts coming in number 3.
My number 3 is Pat Mahomes. Tim mentioned the upgrade of Hollywood Brown will not hurt. He'll definitely get those deep bombs going, and with a more consistent receiver that can catch it and not like drop it. But we'll like Scantling. But yeah, let's see. Still interested to see how that the rookie's going. Worthy, I heard he's having some dropping issues during the OTAs, but yeah, they're looking good as always. As long as Kelsey's there, Mahomes will be good.
At my number 3, I have Jalen Hurts. I think he'll always do well. He has the receivers. With Saquon. No more tush push, but I think they're always gonna be playing, tough games. So he's always gonna be throwing. He's always so a good runner, dual threat. So I have Jalen Hurts at number 3. At number 2, I got Patrick Mahomes. I have him there because I think they're really gonna go for that 3P, and Patrick Mahomes is gonna do whatever he has to do. So he's gonna have his Patrick Mahomes magic where he's just gonna throw it up in the air, and it might be Scantling who gets that touch. Some random receiver getting a touchdown with the most craziest throw ever. So I think Patrick Mahomes is he's determined to get that 3-peat. So I think that's gonna help him get a lot of numbers. So that's why I have him at number 2.
For me, my number 2 was Lamar Jackson. Obviously, them being the dual threat doesn't hurt his cause. Guy's like impossible to tackle sometimes. He'll definitely get his rushing yards when he has to, and he'll just put up the numbers. He's just progressing every year as a passer, so that also helps. Hopefully, Andrews can stay healthy the full year. I mean, Likely's a great backup tight end too. I mean, they got Zay Flowers, second year. He's only going to get better. So I see big things for Lamar.
Yeah, and number 2, I have Lamar there also. Again, dual threat. I still think that they're going to rely on him to show his athleticism and run. Again, health of receivers is a big factor, but just the talent's still there, and Lamar, I think he lost some weight. I don't know if he necessarily had to do that, but maybe he'll be even quicker on his feet, which is absurd to say. And number 1, I have Josh Allen. Talk about a guy that a team. Shout out Chris Collinsworth. Talk about a guy. Talk about a guy who a team relies on most on the offense. The guy does it all. With Diggs no longer there, he's gonna probably be asked. His number's gonna be called on even more. He's just gonna obviously try to carry that team. So I think he's gonna do a good job doing it. Especially from fantasy. So Josh Allen come number 1.
My number 1 is Gardner Minshew.
Nice.
Not just kidding. It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen, obviously. I mean, they're probably going to rely on him to run more. Guy's an absolute beast. He'll get those rushing touchdowns. I'm really interested to see how he'll do with I believe it's Keon Coleman, right? The rookie they drafted.
Yes, great personality.
Definitely great personality. Interesting to see what they can do together. I mean, and they should be good. Other than that, I don't even know who the receivers are anymore because they lost Gabe Davis. They lost Diggs.
Is it McKenzie is going to be up there?
Might be right. Yeah,
I think he's
Isaiah
supposed to
McKenzie.
be a kind of a sleeper pick this year.
Yeah. But we'll see how they're going to rely. If they're going to rely on James Cook a lot or what's going on. But yeah, I can see Allen putting out monster rush numbers this year.
Yeah. I have Josh Allen's as well, number one. He's gonna be relied on a lot to do a lot of stuff. He has his side ends, Kincaid. But I the one big hope is he stays healthy. As long as he stays healthy for the entire season, he could be the number one QB. But like I said, we'll see what they do with him and how that team progresses. But Josh Allen, number one. I think it's 2 consecutive weeks we all have the same number one pick for
consensus.
QB, and yeah, so
I feel like most positions, the number one's kind of consensus across the board for like quarterback, receiver, running back, tight end probably too.
Yeah, or you could just stuck with your get there, Fidel, and just gone with Minshew.
Yeah. I could have, man.
Wouldn't have argued it.
He has the weapons, man. He has Adams and Jacoby Myers.
He's got the hair. It's a weapon.
I don't know. Now he has the what's his name? The rookie from Georgia.
Yeah.
The tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And they got
Brock Bowers.
The Meyer that they drafted last year. Brock Bowers and Meyer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Intriguing.
We'll see.
Right.
But yeah, well, that's our fantasy hour. So yeah, we're at the end of our episode 3. Like I say, I think every week we enjoy doing this. It goes by quick, but we've been doing this for quite a while already. So I appreciate everybody that's been here watching us, listening to us, maybe arguing with us when we're going over some of the stuff, through the screen. We appreciate you guys taking the time. Next week for Fantasy Hour, we are going to go over our top 10 running backs. So we'll have our rankings for the top 10. So like I say, if you guys have any comments, if you feel like we put someone higher or we missed someone on our top 10 QBs, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. We really appreciate it because it could help us for our fantasy draft that's coming up at the end of August. So, we're starting our research right now as well. So we appreciate that feedback. Anything from any of you before heading out?
Subscribe.
Yes. Like, subscribe, hit that reminder bell. That's another great one. I did the same, subscribing to the channel. Always like seeing the updates. John does a great job editing. We all do, our parts there. But yeah, no, this is a ton of fun. For sure, comments are welcome. I don't care if it's positive. I don't care if it's an idiotic statement that one of us said. Call us out. We have a call out segment ourselves. So
join the banter.
We'd love to hear it.
Join the banter with us, you guys. Like we don't mind it. We had one comment asking about Kendrick Drake feud. I think we probably need to do a little bit of research, but I did watch the Ken and Friends tour that happened on the 19th. Pretty awesome, cool concert. I saw that he is filming the music video to Not Like Us in Compton. So I'm curious to see how that video goes. Because like I said, that's, the one thing for me, this is the first time rappers have dissed and have these diss tracks since Tupac and Biggie. So brings it back to those old days, but hope it doesn't end up the way that happened. But it's been entertaining. It's brought rap back to the mainstream.
Absolutely, it's fun to watch. Yeah, it's first time we get to actually remember a good battle here.
Yeah,
unless it was an 8 Mile. Shout out Eminem. Your battles in there.
It's Be Rabbit, bro.
Be Rabbit.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
But yeah, most of all, thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next week.